So you want to know the truth about life after fashion school? Let's get into it. Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name's Shelby, aka Simply Shelby. What is up and welcome back. I do reviews, I do lifestyle, I try to do vlogs, and I've had some fashion content on my channel. I went to Parsons School of Design and studied fashion management there at one of their master's degree programs. And if you're curious on life after fashion school, this is the video for you. I did post a video a while back ago about how I got into Parsons and some tips and tricks while I was doing the program. But I really wanted to put out a video of my experience of life after fashion school. I graduated in August of 2022, so it has been a hot second since I graduated, and I've had people reach out to me from my tips and tricks video on how to get into fashion school, particular in Parsons, and people just ask me questions like, how were the professors, did you get a job, is it worth it, those type of things. So I want to answer those type of questions in today's video. That way, if y'all have any questions on it, you know, hopefully it's answered in this video, or please feel free to comment down below and ask any questions you may have if there's something else you still want to know after this video. But with that being said, if you haven't already, I would love if you subscribe to my channel, join the Shell Squad, give this video a big thumbs up if you're feeling the vibes, and turn on post notification bell. That way you get notified every time I upload a new video, and let's get to talking. This is going to be a really informal video. I just want to talk to you as if I was a friend, as if I was someone giving you advice, just that type of thing, really chill, just some questions that I've heard or questions that people have asked me and reached out to me about the program. Specifically, to give some context, I went to Parsons School of Design and I studied a Master's of Professional Studies in Fashion Management. So I did get a fashion management degree, which is a master's degree at Parsons, and it's 1 year long. So just so you know, it is a pretty fast program. It's 1 year, and it was nice to do while I was there. So let's get into some questions. Now, one thing is people ask about, is it worth it, right? I feel like that's the #1 question of if it's worth it or not. Now, for me, I was looking at MBAs prior, because during the pandemic, I was getting really depressed. I'm like, what should I do with my life? You know, I was in a different industry. I was not happy at all. And I thought maybe I should get an MBA. MBAs are all over $100,000. They're literally so expensive. And I thought, if I'm spending that much on more schooling, why don't I do it in something I love? So I started to apply to fashion programs. Parsons, FIT, some schools here in Toronto, LIM, just different fashion programs that I saw that had master's degrees, and they were less money. Now the Parsons program is around $60K for a year, which is a lot of money. I had to pay for it myself. I'm still paying it back now, right? Probably going to be paying it back the next 30 years, to be honest, but I'm paying that program back. So to answer if it's really worth it or not, it was my dream school. If I got into Parsons, all schools were going to be a wash. I was going to go to Parsons. It didn't really matter to me, the cost. I knew that I was going to go in debt from it, which is sad. My parents didn't help me pay for it. I have to pay for it out of pocket. So that might be a big determining factor for you of whether it's worth it for you or not. If you don't think it's worth that much to pay on an education just based off of the name or dream, then it's probably not worth it for you. But for me, Parsons was my dream since I was young, you know. And when I got into Parsons, like, I was so emotional about it throughout the year. I couldn't believe I was living the dream life that I always wanted, right? I was living in New York at that time. I was going to my dream fashion school. So if it's your dream school, I say it's worth it, because yes, it's gonna cost money. Hopefully you're gonna get a job where you can pay it back. But if it's your dream school, it's worth it. Now, if it's not your dream school and you're kind of like whatever, or you have parents who can pay for it, or you have a lot of money and you can just pay for a program, then maybe look at whether the program should be tailored to your interests. If you're just doing it to do it, maybe it's not worth it for the program. The program is pretty broad spectrum fashion knowledge. So let's say you studied fashion previously in undergrad. It may not be that relevant for you to go into this program, because a lot of it is talking about what's happening in the fashion industry now. We do talk a lot about sustainability. Basically, it's a lot of fashion knowledge you might already learn in an undergrad program. So because of that, I would say if you already had a fashion knowledge background and did fashion for undergrad, you may not need to do this program. But I feel like if you never had any fashion knowledge program, like myself, I took some certificate courses before this, but I never had a true undergrad in fashion, then I think it could be worth it for you. I know it's a very broad question and it's so hard to answer, but it really is specifically up to each person and how much money you can spend and if it's going to be educational enough for you. Let's say you want to do it because you have an existing business and you want to maybe learn more business essentials to elevate your business. Now, I knew a lot of people in the program who had businesses, and to be quite frank, I don't know if the program really helped them. You know, we don't do anything in the program that's specifically for businesses, that's specifically for marketing or branding your business. We do marketing projects, branding projects, but it's more like pitching another brand. So if it's for your own brand or company, I don't really think it's worth it as well, but to each their own. You know, at the end of the program, you basically submit a thesis of something you want to study. Some people tried to tailor it to the business, but they didn't want you to focus solely on your business. So it really is up to you. I know you're probably like, that's not the answer I wanted. Ask anything specific down below. That's the best way I can answer if it was worth it. For me, I would say it was worth it to develop my dream, right? But in reality, because I moved to Toronto, it hasn't been worth it since I've moved to Toronto, sadly. Because if I stayed in New York, I think it would have 100% been worth it. Because in New York, I had companies reach out to me on LinkedIn, and pretty big companies, you know, there's so many companies in New York. So I think if you're staying in New York, it's worth it. If you're not staying in New York, maybe if you go to LA, it's okay. But I came here to Toronto and I swear no one cares that I went to Parsons. I had to start at an entry-level job. So I think it just depends where you're gonna end up. If you're gonna come back to Toronto, it's not worth it. Let's get into, did I find a job after graduating? Yes, I did find a job. I found a job quite fast, actually. I knew I was gonna be moving to Toronto by the time I graduated and by the time I was moving. So I started to apply for fashion jobs in Toronto in July or over the summer before I graduated in August. And luckily I did get a job offer before I moved to Toronto and before I graduated. So that was really great news. But because I was moving to Toronto, it was really hard to find a job. I'm lucky that I did find the job that I did. I'm working at like a major off-price retailer. But if that's not your passion, like for me, I studied rental fashion and I worked in a lot of subscription-based services. I worked for Stitch Fix for a little bit and I worked for a smaller company that did rental fashion. For me, I love learning about sustainable fashion, circular fashion. I love subscription model basis, kind of combining technology and fashion together and how it can better the environment, right? So going to an off-price market, it's not gonna be the most sustainable options all the time, right? You don't really know. You're trying to find the best price for the goods. You kind of are working in the now. But right now I'm working on a major retailer and it's not bad. I'm learning a lot. I'd say that working in off-price, I learn a lot every day. But is it the dream job that I necessarily wanted after fashion school? No, because after fashion school, you think I'm gonna be in this glamorous fashion industry. I'm gonna do glamorous things. I'm gonna be going to fashion week and things like that. And for everybody, it's not that case. You know, some people may get those type of jobs. I feel like if you stay in New York, you're definitely more capable of finding jobs where you could go to fashion week, where you could go to those exciting events in New York City. But if you're gonna move outside of the US, if you're gonna move outside of New York, then maybe reconsider, I'll be honest. So that was just a little bit on, did I get a job? I did get a job, but it's not my dream job, right? So it's just that kind of like give or take. Is it worth you paying $60K to not get your dream job? It goes back to the first thing of like, is it your dream school? If it's your dream school, then I think so. If it's not your dream school, then maybe it's not worth it, you know? Another thing people ask is about the professors. I really enjoyed some professors and some professors not so much, and I feel like that's with any schooling, right? You're gonna mesh with some professors way better than other professors, right? And with this program, it's really what you make out of it. The professors are busy. Most of them are in the industry or they do industry things. You know, they already work a full-time job. They might be a director somewhere else. They don't have time, all this time to spend, you know, to reach out themselves. Like if you wanna talk to them, you know? If you know that this professor is a director at so-and-so company, talk to them, make yourself known. Now if you talk to them and network with them, they are very willing. You know, I feel bad I didn't keep in touch so much with the professors that I had a bond with, but I think it's because I moved, and if I would have stayed in New York, I think I would have had much more opportunity speaking with them. You know, there's a couple of professors that I really enjoyed and I thought they were great, but because I moved, I didn't really get to keep in touch the way I wanted to. So again, I think staying in New York, keeping your connections there is going to be the top thing of this program. If you go into it, stay in New York. Like, it is what it is, you know. I feel like sadly coming to Toronto has depleted me so much, and I did it out of love, you know, but here I am and it is what it is. So if you stay in New York, I think make friends with the professors, or not even make friends, but just talk to them, you know, ask them for advice, maybe ask them for a coffee chat, like get to know them, you know. The professors, the ones who you click with, they're definitely willing to help you. Now, I wouldn't go and ask them for a job straight away. That's kind of rude, but definitely try to build a relationship and see what knowledge you can gain from them, right? They work in the industry, they do industry events, they are smart people, they know how the industry works. So definitely try to work with your professors as much as possible. Another one was, does the program help you with job placement? So in the program, basically first semester you're working on your thesis. Second semester you get an option to work on your thesis, or you can find an internship. For myself, I worked full-time while doing the program. I was a busy bee. I was working Monday through Friday as a buyer for the fashion rental startup, and I was going to school at nighttime, and on the weekends is when the program was. So I was working full-time and going to school full-time. So for me, I didn't need an internship in the springtime. I just did the option to work on my thesis further. But for those who want to do the internship program because you want to get an in a job, is probably the main purpose of why you would do an internship. The program doesn't help you at all. Basically, they're like, here you go, you can get an internship if you want, but do it on your own. They literally did not help you at all. You had to go out there, you had to ask for internships, you had to apply for internships. The program did not help you at all, you know? They're like, you have to find out on your own, sorry. So if you're like, oh, is the program gonna help you? No, they didn't help you find the internship. They didn't. Everyone had to find theirs on their own. So I was kind of happy I had a job at that time, because that would have been stressful. So they don't help you with that, sadly. To end the video, all I want to say is, obviously this was my own experience. Everyone's gonna have their own experience with life after fashion school. This was my honest experience. I moved to Toronto. I don't live in New York anymore. I'm not living the glamorous life that I thought I would live. So with that being said, you know, take this with a grain of salt, right? Everyone's different. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. Everyone has different knowledge. Everyone has different skills. So it's really on you of how much you want to get out of the program, how much you're going to put into the program, where you're going to end up living, that type of thing. But honestly, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them down in the comments below if I didn't answer anything. I try to answer the main ones that I feel like people reach out to me about. But please comment down below, ask me your questions. I'm here to help you. I want you to feel comfortable going into the program, right? It's scary. You're spending a lot of money. You could be moving to a new city. You could be basically like me, cutting off your career that you started somewhere else and just like literally giving up on everything and trying something new. Because for me, I was working in a different industry. I was literally living in my parents' basement during the pandemic, and I was like, you know what? I want something better for my life, and I went to fashion school. So you might be going through like a little life crisis and you're like, let me go to fashion school, you know? Everyone is different. But I hope that this video helps some of you out there who do have these type of questions about the program, about fashion school in general, about Parsons in general. I'm here to help you. So again, ask any questions down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would love if you subscribe. Join the Shell Squad, give this video a big thumbs up if you felt the vibes, and turn on post notification bell. That way you get notified every time I upload a new video. And thank you so much. Bye!